So meet Neo, potentially the most futuristic product we've ever seen.
A company called 1X have just launched their revolutionary home robot called Neo. They're hoping that it's going to save us all from the nightmare of loading our own dishwashers. These robot servants come at a cost of $20,000 up front or $500 a month. The tech world seems to be losing themselves over this thing. You'd think that they just invented sliced bread, but there is more to this Neo home robot than meets the eye. People are being led to believe that this robot functions autonomously, but in reality it doesn't. When journalists had gotten hands-on time with Neo, and by hands-on I mean they were allowed to have a look at it while someone else had controlled it with a PlayStation controller, they discovered that 100% of the tasks were being remote controlled by humans wearing VR headsets in another room. Wall Street Journal's Joanne Stern literally watched this robot doing chores, and the company just casually admitted, oh yeah, that's Dave in VR doing all of that. They're selling you a $20,000 RC car and calling it artificial intelligence. When Neo ships to customers in 2026 and 2027, yes, you're paying a year or two in advance for this product, which is already insane, but it's supposedly going to be working autonomously on basic tasks. But what exactly is the definition of a basic task? This involves opening doors, carrying cups, something that your 5-year-old nephew can do. Imagine paying $20,000 and this thing can't even fold your laundry or mop the floor because it's going to require human assistance to do so. If you want to do anything complex with this robot, then you're going to have to schedule expert mode. It literally involves one of their employees putting on a VR headset and piloting your robot like it's Ratatouille. You'll have this faceless operator controlling this robot and being able to see everything inside of your home with those cameras. The company is framing this scenario as you are helping Neo learn while getting the job done. But this is Silicon Valley speak for you're getting to pay 20 grand to be an unpaid beta tester while we figure out if this thing does actually work or not. Let's talk about those cameras too, because this is where it gets pretty dystopian. Neo has dual 8 megapixel fisheye cameras for eyes. It can see everything, plus 4 microphones, and it's constantly connected through your Wi-Fi or 5G connection. This thing is literally mapping the entirety of your house, listening to your conversations and seeing everything that is going on in your house and sending it back to 1X's servers. And when you request expert mode, some operator gets complete visual and audio access to your home. They pinky promise that they're going to blur faces and let you set no-go zones, because everyone knows that the best form of security is just asking a company nicely, oh, please don't listen to us or don't go into this room. This is the same company flogging this $20,000 dust collector as an autonomous robot, while in actuality the robot is just remote controlled by guys wearing VR headsets. As you can see here, the robot is not actually autonomous, it's being controlled by somebody wearing a VR headset. Behind the scenes, it's teleoperated by humans, meaning that someone somewhere else could literally remote control a robot inside of your living room. Imagine paying $499 a month for a robot avatar with a human pilot that you don't even know. Again, it's impressive tech, the fact that you can control this robot with your body with these peripherals, but this robot with this expensive price tag is being puppeted by somebody you don't even know, by a company that's already lied to us. The promotional video for Neo makes it look like it's just one firmware update away from doing your taxes and even raising your kids. It is actually hilarious looking at this robot do a simple task like closing the dishwasher door and how spectacularly it is failing at doing it. Yeah, finally it gets around to it, but it doesn't even close the door properly. During the 10-minute keynote speech, 2 scenes are actually labeled as autonomous, like opening a door when someone approaches and carrying a cup from one person to another. All they can do is open doors and be a very slow and expensive waiter. Any other actions need to be pre-programmed through the mobile app, so you're doing the work or somebody is remotely teleoperating the robot, which we've established is just paying someone to remote control an expensive toy while snooping in on your life with those cameras and microphones. This robot can't cook, which fair enough, neither can I, but I'm not being marketed as a household assistant. Also, the robot's not waterproof except for the hands. This means that it cannot work in the rain or even properly clean up spills. It's also designed for flat ground only. Also, the battery life for this thing is 4 hours. So for a full days of chores, this thing will be plugged into your wall more often than it's actually working. So for the sake of opening a few doors and passing you over a cup, is going to need a nap every 4 hours of doing that. Then there's the speed issue, which is genuinely comical. I mean, watch any footage of Neo walking and it looks like he's dragging himself through quicksand. Literally, even loading a dishwasher becomes a 20-minute dance. Folding a single shirt is going to take this thing longer than you just doing your entire laundry routine. 1X is clearly banking on people who are so desperate for a automated future that they'll ignore the gap between what is being promised to them and what they have actually received. 1X is pretty brazen about its strategy. They want early adopters. They want people to pay that $20,000 so that they can be guinea pigs to generate training data to develop the refined model. And hopefully down the line, God knows, within 10 to 20 years, they'll actually design a robot that actually works like they have promised.
Turns out 100% of the things that they showed her were remotely controlled by a human in another room wearing a VR headset with controllers. That's not exaggerating. 100% of the stuff they showed her. The carrying things around, the loading up the dishwasher.
If you guys buy this robot, you're not buying a finished product, you're funding their research and development. It's like going to the dentist. They've charged you full price for a tooth filling, but they've handed you the drill and said, yeah, if you could just do that yourself, film it so that we can learn, that'll be great. Yeah, really appreciate it, man. The CEO for 1X has talked about how they need millions of households to give them data, similar to how Tesla needed millions of miles of driving data in order to train their AI models. Here's the catch though, Tesla drivers actually had a product. They weren't paying $20,000 to be beta testers. The Tesla cars actually drove, and this is a far cry from what the Neo robot is capable of doing. Then there is the privacy concerns with the cameras and microphones on this thing. You don't want somebody across the globe seeing all of your personal property. What happens when Neo is charging itself in your bedroom overnight and you don't realize that an operator has remotely accessed it and is perving on you while you sleep? I mean, the pretty cool thing about this is that it has a very low latency VR teleoperation, and it is pretty insane to see it in action. But for them to market this thing as being autonomous is ridiculous. The concept is cool, but it's still very far from the final product. God help anyone who's paid $20,000 for this thing, it's definitely not worth the money. It's a symptom of a much bigger issue. These Silicon Valley companies are very comfortable with selling their AI vaporware. These are over-aspirational products which over-promise instead of delivering on the bare basics. They have a simple strategy: generate hype, secure funding, take on loads of pre-orders, and then figure out how it's all going to work later on. It has been pretty funny seeing all of the memes on Twitter, like this one here, Neo Home Robot when you can't pay the monthly subscription fees and it's got a gun pointed to your head. Or like this POV, you wake up in the morning after your Neo Home Robot subscription payment failed. One of the 1X employees takes control of the robot and it stares you down while you sleep until you make the payment. It doesn't help that they used marketing images like this, with the robot being flirtatious with girls. And yeah, nobody is really talking about how terrifying this thing looks. The promotional video for the Neo Home Robot does look like a horror movie, where we see the backstory before the actual world falls apart. It literally seems like the precursor to the Terminator. How life was perfect and happy, how there was a lot of promise when these robots were first introduced, but one day the robots got sick of taking your cups and watering your plants, and they decided to literally take over the world. So yeah, let me know all of your thoughts about this $20,000 robot that can open and close doors and hand you a cup of water. Because while this thing is being advertised to you as being able to be left alone and autonomously functioning, in reality it's a very expensive surveillance device that you've paid for, where some loser from 1X can watch everything that you're doing and listen in on all of your conversations. But yeah, let me know all of your thoughts in the comments, and lastly, thanks for making it to the end of this one, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.